Alright, let's start with the bad news. Update regarding Hero Mastery Gauntlet. Greetings, heroes. As we prepare for Season 11, we've taken the time to evaluate a variety of game modes based on how much they are being played. Hero Mastery Gauntlet was intended to bring the high-scoring, chasing excitement of Hero Mastery missions into a multiplayer format. Unfortunately, it hasn't resonated with players in ways that we hoped. With this in mind, we've decided to discontinue Hero Mastery Gauntlet as a permanent mode and will not be available to play starting in Season 11. Players have until the end of Season 10 to complete the lifetime challenges for Hero Mastery Gauntlet and compete on the mode's top 500 leaderboards. Thanks to all those who jumped into the Gauntlet. If you are still looking to improve your hero skills, individual Hero Mastery solo courses will continue to be available, and there will be more Hero Mastery solo courses coming in upcoming seasons. We'll see you in game. So, before you start crying and mourning, this is specifically the tower defense multiplayer version, not the, like, you know, complete the time trial on Winston as fast as possible, or Reinhardt as fast as possible, or Lucio as fast as possible. This is specifically the multiplayer tower defense version. This is realistically the right call. I know there's arguments to be made. It's like, why remove it then? Well, I'm not a game designer, I'm not a dev, but I'm sure that there's still some types of maintenance that they have to keep up with it. If nobody was playing it, I don't think anyone was playing it, myself included. They had no replayability. It was kind of trash. And to be honest with you, I don't want to shit on them for it, but it really just looked like they were just trying to take some of the PvE assets that never got used or never were going to get used and tried to make a game mode out of it. Wasn't popular. Nobody played it. It was kind of trash. So even the in-game upgrade system kind of sucked. So I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to get this and they're going to be whataboutism of, like, you know, hey, even the PvE missions, right? Like, unless that was paid content, I bet they would have took that away. Just because nobody plays the PvE missions at all. They have no replayability, zero. And there's no more that are going to be coming. So, you know, it's kind of sad, but realistically, right call. Put your resources elsewhere. But there are some small things. Yeah, I was about to point out, you said, what will happen to the victory poses? I have this tweet from Ski, when she said, Mercy players, if you want this victory pose, you need to get it before Season 10 ends by winning in the Hero Mastery Gauntlet mode on Legendary difficulty without dying. There are some, there's some victory poses and sprays and stuff like that that you get through that game mode. Unless you get them by the end of Season 10, you'll never be able to get them again. So, if you really do care about some of them, which you probably should have got it beforehand then, but if you didn't, now you know, you probably want to get on that kind of quickly. So there's also a title for doing 500 matches. Yeah, I ain't getting that one. That'll probably become one of the rarest titles in Overwatch. On to the good news. So there was a mini patch that went out yesterday, and they kind of look like they cooked on this. Venture. Developer comments, as we continue to monitor Venture's gameplay throughout their release season, we are making a change that adds more flexibility to using drill dashes. Players will be now less punished for using their drill dash above ground and immediately burrowing due to the new accelerated cooldown while underground. Drill dash cooldown now begins when the ability is used. Cooldown is no longer decreased by half when underground. Cooldown is now accelerated by 90% underground. Dude, I think this was like literally my suggestion when Venture came out. I was like, their kit feels almost there in fluidity. But there's just like that wonkiness between using your drill dash above ground and below ground. This bridges that gap. This is awesome. I think they 100% cooked. Burrow added a 0.2 second grace period after the burrow timer runs out while emerging to be charged, which I also think is great because you had to hit the space bar like very, very close to actually being at the end. But if you timed it too late, then you it up and you like didn't get to do the you know. Also, one other quick change, which is why I said they kind of cooked. Zarya increased self knockback on secondary fire to account for the increased knockback resistance on the tank passive. Basically, Zarya wasn't able to do some of the right click jumps if you had been able to do previously with Zarya because of the tank resistance changes. So they changed the way the knockback works. So now you can kind of, you know, make your jumps, which is nice. So very, very small patch. Didn't really expect to have a patch just randomly on a 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in the season. But it looks like they kind of cooked with this, so that's awesome. I saw this tweet the other day that was the Overwatch 2 average player count is the highest it's been since launch on Steam, with a screenshot attached, which is this screenshot right here, showing a 41,000 player peak from 15 minutes ago, 51,000 24-hour peak, and a 75,000 player peak. And I decided to open it up to myself just to take a quick look. And you know, it's kind of crazy. Overwatch is growing on Steam. I don't know if that equates to the players in the game actually growing very much, but I hate to be this guy, but I feel like there's a major disconnect right now. Probably almost as big as it's ever been between people that have been playing Overwatch for a long time and people that are playing Overwatch semi-recently. And it's where like a lot of like really, really long time older players are like kind of beyond fed up at the moment. While a lot of the casual, like super casual people is like, oh, it's fine, everything's great. And I don't know how to feel about it. A lot of the really hardcore people are kind of fucking fed up and are like pissed off and not having a good time. But the casual people are having an okay time. Is it just because they haven't caught up yet and like they haven't played enough to get there? Or are the people that just been here for years just too burned out and probably just need to do something else for a while? I don't know. Is it any different how it's been for the last 2 years? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a difference between it comes in waves and like people get happy and then they get sad and they get happy and they get sad and they get happy and they get sad, right? But the intensity of the waves is a lot different. It's a lot different, you know? Steam Charts also has a problem with AFK players / bots sitting in the main menu, so take that with a grain of salt. Well, I mean, you take all of these always with a grain of salt, but the point is like the game has been climbing over time, you know? I'm proud with our current work. I think we're doing the best we've ever done. No, I agree. I 100% agree. But I also think that the player sentiment's gotten to the point where it's like some people are just fed the fuck up, and I can't even blame them. Especially if you're a tank player, like for like the most recent patch. I hate to say it, I really do, but it kind of did fuck all. Like, yeah, like it's slightly better. It genuinely is slightly better. But the other two roles now probably think tank is like completely broken, and in some ways it kind of is, but it still feels like shit to play, you know? And so you kind of have a lot of those players that don't want to really play anymore, and then you also have like, I don't know, player sentiment's just kind of been shattered on like understanding how the game works in that aspect. And so every game people feel like they just have somebody flaming their tank, or their tank's getting flamed, or whatever the fuck it is, and like then people don't want to play it as much. And then you have the people that then come back around with the 6v6 arguments all the time, and it's like, I don't know, dude. It's one of those sentiments like maybe you just gotta wait a while and just see what happens. But I also don't like putting my stock in just sitting around and waiting and seeing if something better happens. Well, the 6v6 argument's only gonna get stronger, I think. I thought it was objectively better for the casual gamer. I agree.
Is that as a mid to high gold player on console shouldn't have 30+ minute quest trying to play with my friends in low silver / high bronze.
Really? 30-minute queue? God damn, thanks to the 200 bits. Yeah, but like they also want to make Overwatch a competitive game, and you cannot be a competitive player in this game for long. You will literally short circuit. Like you literally will short circuit. You can't do it. It's not possible. Because like I don't want to be the guy to say like at what point. Okay, so right, there's an argument that has to be made. There's an argument to be made that so much work has been done, 5v5, 6v6, right? And it's like, I feel like unless you have the conversation, you're just putting yourself in a deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper hole, you know? When Overwatch 2 is 5v5, well, the point of Overwatch 2 is actually supposed to be the PvE, to be fair. 66 ever get brought back, everyone's gonna cry and whine Overwatch 2 is pointless, and 66 come back. Yeah, but that already happens. That literally already happens. It's no different than today's. I would argue that the Overwatch 2 originally was supposed to be PvE. Because I remember back when they announced the 5v5, the community was pretty unitedly against it. But it was given very much like a, just gotta trust us, you gotta try it. And I think a lot of people were like, yeah, this feels good. Actually, this is nice. But that's definitely worn off for a lot of people. Like really, really worn off for a lot of people. And so you have to think, if you refuse to have the conversation about it, right? And I'm not even picking a side. My big problem is the refusal to have a conversation about it at this point. Without having a conversation about it at all, and just pretending it doesn't exist and sticking your head in the sand, you're just kind of letting all the problems perpetuate and be worse because people feel like they have an answer and you're not listening to them. So then at that point, if the argument then becomes, well, we've already done so much work, that is like, what's the point of going back? And it's like, well, if what you're trying to always do is make it better, like you're trying to create the best possible outcome and the best possible game and the best possible everything with that, by completely ignoring a major possibility and a major suggestion, I feel like you're not doing due diligence to that. Right? Because you're just like, I refuse to entertain this idea because it will set us back. And it's like, but what if you're already at the limit of how good this certain product could be? And that by choosing to not address another issue or another solution, you're not actually able to go after what is the best case possible.